Okay, testing sound. Testing. Looks good. Open up the chat. All right, folks, if you're out there watching me get all set up here, I'll have you know, might be a little bit of an echo. Just a minute until I get all these shared to various pages. We are going to have an interesting episode here tonight. Okay, we'll get that shared to the Harrisville Haunted House. Gotta give them something to do this season. Let's see, we'll share it to that Jack Shadow guy, to his page. Share it to Chiller Chat, of course. Look at that, we got 4 minutes to go. Right. And we'll share it to the Chiller Night Facebook group page. Okay, looking good. Let me get off this page in case there's an echo. Should be good to go. We're all set. All right, folks, as I am setting up, if there's anyone out there, what we're going to do tonight, I'll give you a little, well, I posted about it earlier today, but we are going to have our very first Chiller Chat episode with video and audio. So that is fantastic. I'm really excited about this. Our guest tonight will be the EVPS, Eerie Voices Paranormal Society, with Doug Malinowski and Chad Cornell. They're going to be on here. And let's see if I get... Okay. All right, we got about a minute and a half, then we'll start. I can't wait to try this out. And I'll remind everybody, we got about a minute left. Remind everybody, this is it's of course you're seeing it live, and you can interact. You can ask questions as I'm talking with Doug and Chad. So participate as much as you want. I'll try to get all your questions if there's a lot of questions, and I'm speaking with them. We'll try to get everything in. In this episode, now you're seeing it live tonight. This is the unedited version of it, and you'll be able to see this episode this Saturday night on Stream TV at streammedia.tv. at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So 7:59, we're going to start at 8 o'clock on the dot. Coming right up. And it is time. Hey everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Chat. Now we have this is a monumental episode. This is awesome. We are actually having our guests here tonight, Chad Cornell and Doug Malinowski from the EVPS, Eerie Voices Paranormal Society. They will be with us on video. You're going to see them right up here on video and see and hear them. So I'm very excited about that. This is the first time I've ever had that happen on this show, and it's kind of a breakthrough episode. So let's see. Carrie says, "Any chance Diana will make an appearance?" I'm sure. Diana and David and quite a bit of people will be making appearances now that we have this capability up and running. One thing I wanted to mention really quick, because this is kind of a pretty awesome thing. William Shatner, Captain Kirk, he's going into space. I had to mention this. This is so cool. This is going to happen. It was supposed to happen today, I gather, but I think it was delayed. It's going to go on, I guess, tomorrow morning at 9:30. So we wish Captain Kirk, William Shatner, all the best as he makes a journey out into space. That's incredible at 90 years old. So all right, Godspeed, good sir. And right now, let's get Doug and Chad joining us here. Fellas, how you doing tonight?
Good. I can't complain.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, we are doing great here at Chiller Chat. I tell you what, you guys, I had one of our viewers, Tom Paisley. He was helping me set up the Zoom chat, and then you got me set up really well here with the Skype. So much appreciated. You guys are part of the Chiller Chat history. You know, first time we're doing it this way.
We're the dark shadow.
Yeah, why not?
Yes. So I really appreciate this, and thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Brad says William Shatner is going someplace where he sort of has gone before. Yeah, kind of.
Dude, that is so cool that William Shatner gets to experience this. You know, out of everybody that's able to do this, why not let it be him?
Mm-hmm.
William Shatner, the man, the myth, the legend. Can you believe that at 90 years old, going up into space at 90 years old? That is incredible. I mean, he doesn't look and sound like he's 90.
No.
So.
Hell, I'm afraid No, I could never do it.
I was telling Doug, I had an interesting story to tell him, and it deals with him in a way because I was watching the movies that made us, and it was about Halloween, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're trying to determine the mask. And it's basically Captain Kirk mask that they did stuff to. Yeah.
Yeah, they painted over.
I thought that was hilarious.
Right, yeah. I wonder if a lot of people know that. I don't know. I think that is pretty interesting that they used his likeness.
I saw it today and blew my mind. I'm like, it just shocked me.
You just found that out today.
I just found out today.
Oh, really?
Did not know.
Yeah.
Deb says, hey, everyone.
Yeah, because the movie
Deb,
was
thanks
a
for joining
low
us.
budget, and they needed something.
I had a revelation. What can I say?
A moment of clarity for Chad today. All right. Well, hey, guys, you're with the Eerie Voices Paranormal Society. I'm going to put your banner up here. And now you guys have a show every Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Called the Eerie Voice. And I see you're on the Manifest Network these days. So what is that?
That's actually a network we created to have another platform for other paranormal enthusiasts who have a background doing podcasts and
Mhm.
live streams to be able to, have a platform to talk to the people. And it's just a great way to have a lot of people connect.
Oh, that's cool. And that is exclusively on Facebook at this time?
At this time,
At this
it
time,
is
yeah,
exclusive. Yeah.
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right, that is great. All right, so guys, you've been doing the paranormal investigations for a long time. I know that because I've gone out with you guys a long time ago, and I know
Yeah.
you were in it
Yeah.
well before I even met you. So, how long have you been at it now?
12, 13
12, at
years.
least 12
Yeah,
years.
12, 13 years roughly. We've been together as a team.
Hmm.
I've been doing it a little bit longer, roughly a little bit longer, because I started somewhere to get the guy I had an interest and kind of wanted to get my feet wet before I did anything, and kind of came together to form a lot of friends who had interests, and that's how
Yeah.
we formed the team.
This guy actually didn't even want me on the team.
Oh, I gotta hear about this. Why is that?
Well,
What'd you
well,
do?
yeah, he had mentioned that he wants to put a team together and everything, and I've always been a skeptic. So I told him I had my own personal reasons to wanna, explore the paranormal.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Chad, I'm like, dude, I want in. He was like, yeah, nah, this isn't for you, buddy. And now we're the only two. Well, we're the only two original members. We have more members, but you know.
You guys are like the Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley of EVPS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm Cannon and Chad's the more sensible person.
This is why we work good on our podcast. We're the yin and yang.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
But you know, it's kind of neat that you. Okay, here's a question then. On a scale of 1 to 10, and for each of you, before you started this, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, how much was your belief in the paranormal then compared to now?
Oh, for me, I'd say it was starting off. It was probably a 6 because I was very skeptical. I wanted to find real answers and real proof. Now, I mean, I'm a 10 because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it. I've had personal experiences. I've had physical things happen.
Mhm.
So I believe 100% now. So it's things over time. It's funny because, and Doug will go into his too, but I think for me personally, it's the reasons why I'm in the field has changed and progressed as I've gone doing this now for 12, 13 years, where it might be.
Mhm.
Starting off, I wanted to find answers. I wanted to present that proof and be like, oh, this right here this is what your evidence is. We have it right here. Now, it's great if we capture something, we can present it and show what we captured, but we're more open to all aspects, and we are kind of more into it for, I think, our own personal reasons even more than before, because we want, once you get a family and you get older, you kind of want to know what is going
We're
on.
old.
Yeah, you're older.
We are old. Yeah.
But I don't know about Doug, but
I don't know, about a 5, I would say.
Going into it?
Yeah. I always believe that there's something more.
Uh-huh.
Life's not just white and black. There's color to it, and I always believe that there's something more out there. But yeah, I got into it because a family member passed, so
Okay.
I wanted to see what I could learn about his passing. And throughout the years, like talking to psychics, this and that, and a lot of mediums, I've reached out to a lot of them after the show and said, hey, listen to my story. Let's talk, And I really think I've got answers that I was looking for, I guess. But yeah. I don't know. I do it now for fun.
yeah, it is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And to see new people, because we do a lot of stuff for like charity stuff, charity events, and it's like Christmas Day with your children. When you have a room of 10, 15 people, 20 people that paid to spend the night with you, I mean, yeah, nobody's ever paid to spend the night with me before, so it's a cool
What kind
experience.
of group is this?
But to see people's reactions when you know,
Yeah.
you catch an EVP or, you know, the
Something moves.
something moves. It's really cool. It's a cool feeling.
So, Doug, where are you now on that scale of 1 to 10? Are you? Did you say now that you're
Oh, I'm a full 10. Yeah,
okay? All
I'm a
right.
12. I'm a 12.
How long did it take you guys to get there? I mean, approximately. Did it take a year? I mean, you guys have been doing it for so long.
I'd say right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, we got really lucky. I mean, hell, my last name's Malinowski. We have it's
ITC talker.
ITC talker. So this device kind of pulls out the alphabet, but it sounds like a smoker or a person that has the trig.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it sounds like this.
Uh-huh.
The first night when we walk into a room, and the ITC talker is sitting stationary, and it goes Malinowski. Right there, I was sold. I was sold.
Yeah. That's not like saying, Smith. Did it say Smith? You know.
Yeah.
It was pretty shocking.
No, we walked in the room and goes Malinowski.
See, I think for me and with mine, I think it was more. It probably took. I mean, it progressed, but I think for me to be a full-fledged was probably a couple years into it, really, till I saw some things that kind of shocked the system that we captured, that we experienced in that moment. So, I mean, it probably took a couple years to get to that 10, but that 10 has, gotten stronger and stronger as we've gone, because we've been very blessed. We kind of have a theory that we've had that communication and that respect from the other side, that it seems to be more prone to open up when we're around compared to when you start off.
Yeah, because it is a respect thing. You're walking into somebody else's home, somebody else's realm. You don't want to go in there and talk down on people. You don't want to go in there and be arrogant, ignorant. So I think over the years we've kind of honed how we try to communicate and approach, like Chad was saying.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or demanding. I've heard some of those groups. They're like really giving these spirits a tongue lashing.
See, but sometimes though it does depend on. I know at Madison, we've gone to Madison a lot of times. If anybody out there has never been to Madison, go to Madison. But they're in the asylum section. It's the very top. Rumor has it, it's more aggressive spirits, but you tend to get more activity if you're being aggressive. So you got to know your location. You know what I'm saying?
Got to read the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like I'm never one to say, all right, go in guns blazing.
Yeah.
Ever. But if it's told to you, hey, if by chance you go in there a little something might happen, then boy oh boy, I'm your guy, because I will go in there with guns blazing.
So there is a place for that. Obviously.
There is.
Okay.
You have to know it too. You got to know the location you're in, because if you go to a place where it's had some hostile events, say they've had experiences where been hostile things being scratched, you're being scratched or something thrown at you. You don't want to get there being hostile, because you don't want that to happen. I mean, unless you really want it to happen, but you got to be real. You got to understand where you are, for sure.
Yeah. Now, there's different types of haunts, of course. You have the, and maybe you can correct me on some of the terminology that you as investigators would use. You have the residual haunt. I guess the best way to explain it is kind of on a loop, right?
Kind of like a tape player, yeah. It just plays itself over again, and it's basically mostly it happens in the right circumstances, whether it be time of day, atmosphere pressure, the time of year. And a big theory is it has no idea you're there. It's just doing it because it's almost like its energy just set in motion. And notice I said energy. It's not really. People will consider it a ghost, but it's really just an energy being left behind. It's doing the same thing over again. It's not going to interact with you. So it's a weird misconception. I personally believe it's more of the energy left behind, because it has no idea you're there.
This is an interesting question by one of our viewers, Glamfangs on YouTube. Hi, Brian. Glad I could make it tonight. Question: have you ever gone to a place believed to be haunted, but found it was a deliberate hoax?
I don't know about deliberate, but we've
No.
been able to debunk a lot of things.
I know we did a private residence before, and we were fairly new into it, and the guy believed there was a spirit taking money, this, that, and we went in there with the hopes of, we are going to find something, we are going to help this guy out. Truth of the matter, man, his girlfriend's son, I think, was pocketing his money and buying drugs or something, know?
Yeah.
There's a reason the money's disappearing.
And the other things that had happened to him, we were able to determine based off his medication that he was taking were causing him to have hallucination.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I hadn't really, because I know, of course, you go in there and you look to debunk, because that's how you're learning and compiling your information. So, but that's a neat question there. Somebody deliberately trying to do a hoax, and get you guys in there, and I'd never thought about that, but that's interesting.
See, we've changed our approach with that a lot since when we started years and years and years ago, where we do a lot more work. There's more work involved leading up to the investigation than there is during the actual investigation.
Oh.
Just to help determine if it's something that is them just trying to get attention, or if it's something like we won't go in this investigative place to investigate a place. We want to know if it's even worth investigating ultimately, whether it's something logical. Like we went to a place in our general area for, it was Gerard, a location out there, and we determined it was bad wiring.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they tore the building down since, so what does that show you?
Right. So there's a screening process that you guys go through.
Correct.
To pick your clients or your venue, wherever you're going. That's interesting. Now we talked a little bit about that, the residual haunt or the looping haunt, the conscious haunts, the ones that are aware. Intelligent. My question is, from all the years that you guys have been doing this, and from any other investigations that you may have heard of or studied, does it seem to you that when someone passes on to the next life, whatever that may mean, they have a higher sense of awareness, or they have a lower sense of awareness? Like they don't know that they are gone yet. They don't know what's going on. Or are they like the scientists looking down at the lab rat, and they actually, from a different perspective of things, they can see the whole picture?
Well, it's kind of a twofold theory, and Doug might have a different concept too. But one of the things that we've talked about before is, if you sometimes say you're at a location, something happened where you passed away suddenly and abruptly, and you weren't aware of the circumstances when you were passing, you just passed. Well, you're on the other side, you have no idea that you're gone, so they kind of go about their normal business, and they kind of find it weird. So when things are happening, they're trying to get attention, not knowing that they're actually passed on. That's why you try to communicate to let them know you've passed on, just kind of give them closure ultimately. But also there's the aspect of almost like another realm. So when we communicate with them, we're asking them to speak to us and so forth. It's one of those things you wonder if they're kind of doing the same thing to us.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like what Marvel's doing with the multiverse right now. It's kind of the same thing, but a lot of it's all theory.
It is.
None of us know, honestly, what's going on. It's all theory. Right. What I believe in might be something you don't believe in, but that's why we're here. We're trying to get answers.
Because there's been EVPs caught that says, can you hear us? Yes. Can you see us? No. And it's vice versa. It's interesting. Like, you get to EVPs answering questions to your question about whether they can see us. No, but they can hear us. Well, why is that? It's interesting.
That is interesting. I've never heard that, to where on the other side they're asking, "Can you hear me? Can you see me?"
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's interesting. I've actually never heard that. That's
That's why it's such a complicated field. It's just full of theories. There's no expert. It's just a lot. It's more based off experience.
It really is, because I mean, you can go into a location, you can visit it 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that 100 times, you can have 3 experiences. You know, like I can go somewhere and the gates of hell open up. Chad goes the next 2 weeks and nothing. So who's to say the ghosts aren't investigating it themselves?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
wow.
I know it's weird.
Interesting.
And I think it's based off too the person that is investigating. Because there's been times where I've investigated, except from Doug in a building, and I've been catching crazy. Pete, I've been scratched, and Doug had nothing all night.
He makes a lot of shit up, but
wow!
I kid. I joke.
There goes our credibility.
I know. Right? You open that box, buddy. No, I joke.
Have you really been scratched during an investigation?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
Live in a live stream.
Wow.
He actually married a spirit once. He didn't even know.
What was that like? I mean, was it? Did you see it afterwards? You saw the red mark?
Yeah, you actually you could see that. Like when I felt it happen, it just felt the sensation. It was hard to explain, and I was just like, okay, something just happened. We were live streaming, and I told the person who was with me, "Can you just look at my back?" And I was standing in front of the camera when this happened, so I looked my shirt up, and he could see a scratch. You could watch it kind of starting to get red and rise and get bigger and bigger. And we went upstairs in the light, and you could just see it was actually like embossed from just the scratch itself. What would happen if you get a scratch? It's going to, rise up. You could just see it in the middle of my back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, it's really cool. But on the other aspect, because I was there with another team member. Chad was there. We had a good friend of ours there. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me, if I wouldn't have known what Chad experienced that night, I would have said it was probably the worst investigation I ever been on. Like, I didn't want to be there. Yeah. It was, I felt like it was a waste of my time. And yet,
it connected with more
in a different room, because we always say, 2 people go top floor, 2 people go to the basement. We always keep ourselves segregated. And if I wouldn't have known what Chad had experienced that night, I would have said, this is the worst. Never waste your time going there.
But it happened, like I said, I think it's based on, I think certain spirits connect to certain people at certain locations. Because we went to a location that I had much happen, and Doug saw his first apparition.
Yeah, man, spirits love me, just not at that one place.
I wonder if people who've never, like, gone to one of these, or have been involved in investigation, really understand just. I mean, I know from watching you guys work how meticulous you are, and how and then there's not just the setting up and the investigation. There's the review afterwards. All the hours that go in the reviewing and editing and stuff. So it's a lengthy process. There's a lot that goes into it. And you said too, you have that screening process too. So an investigation from A to Z can last quite some time.
Yeah, and if we're doing a location more for our fun, just for the fun of it, and try and find out if there's really something legit about this location, if we just wanted to go, and we do a live stream, we enjoy doing our investigations via live stream, because then it's not just the investigators there. We have the investigators at home watching. Because so many times people have caught stuff on camera that we would mark and go back and see what they caught, and it was just
or even mediums. I mean, and I've always been a skeptic with mediums, with everything. I'm a skeptic. You got to prove to me you're the real deal. And luckily, I've been able to be around a lot of real deal people, But while doing the live stream, people will start commenting and saying, "Hey, I feel there's something in the corner over here." Now, how you can feel there's something in the corner over here while you're
thousands of miles
away, I find that hard to believe. But honestly, It's happened.
Huh.
Like it's really, really cool. Like the Xbox Connect.
Oh yeah.
What's the technical term for it?
We were using it's basically a Connect system, basically where it's a mapping software to map out
Yes.
something you can't see with your own eye. If it maps the figure of a spirit, is technically what they expect you to do. We have one of those. The SLS camera is what it's called.
Yeah, SOS camera.
We've learned how to. Another thing, you understand your equipment. 'Cause we've learned the downfalls of it and the pauses of it, and knowing the downfalls helps you define what is actually legit or not legit.
So you know where to use it and how to use it.
Exactly.
But I know just to use as an example, you know, I'm doing EVP session, this, that, and the people kept saying, you know, hey, look over here to the corner, to the corner. So we moved the camera over there, and sure as shit, sorry, not sorry, but yeah, there was something in the corner. It was really, really cool. And I actually like reached my hand out and said, can you please shake my hand, this and that. And you can see the stick figure reach out to grab me.
Did you feel anything?
I did not, no.
Hey, speaking of technology, and I would love to see that. Did you see a video? Did you have that on video?
We have it somewhere in our
I'd love to see something like that. Speaking of videos, though, I have a video here. I'd like to play it. Just like I think maybe a minute long that I have of yours, and this is the one where you hear a voice. Is there any setup you can give me on this, Chad?
I'm trying to remember which one I sent you.
This is the word. The word was banana. Somebody was saying banana.
Okay, so
banana.
We were in the firehouse.
Apples
We were doing a way of trying to, because we were using a device that it goes through radio frequencies at a fast rate that it really can't pick up a station, but it creates a static white noise so they can speak through, almost like a ghost phone. And we always test it for intelligence and try and use a word you would normally not hear on the radio if by chance it got one station, but it goes through at such a fast rate, you're getting a crap ton of stations in a matter of just a second. So we use a random word like banana to basically create that intelligence and prove it something is intelligent there.
Some pumpkins.
So you picked that word?
Yeah.
And okay, I'm going to play this video here, and I want everybody to hear this. Here we go.
Say a word, and I want you to repeat it for us. Can you please say the word? This is for you, Joe. Banana. If you say the word banana, whoa. Hopefully heard that. Okay.
Huh. I guess I can't understand how a spirit would make that, like a vocal noise, but then again, they're moving things in some occasions, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way we use a device. It's almost like us calibrating it. If we can get it to speak like an intelligent word that would make no sense to be on the air, then we know something might be there. Doug enjoys real-time EVPs, and I know we've caught before in that investigation. I remember we were doing an EVP session. We heard some with our own ear, and turned around and went to say something, and we actually didn't pick this up on anything else. We actually picked it up in the live stream, and goes, "That was me."
Yes.
Well, that's true. You're hearing it through that device. It's not like you're hearing it like with.
Well, at this point, we were just doing an EVP session with a recorder. We heard it with our own ears behind us. So we thought we heard somebody say something.
Oh, really?
Did you guys hear that? What was that? Was that somebody? And you hear a voice come across, and it was picked up on the live stream audio.
Oh,
that was me.
I thought it was through that device. Wow, that's even more interesting.
Yeah.
We are actually at the end here. What I'm going to do, because I still want to. Are you guys okay staying on a little longer?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do at 8:30, I'm gonna play the end credits, and then we're gonna pick up with part 2 of this. Is that cool with everybody?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sounds good. And away. I'm gonna play that right now, and then we're gonna go into part 2.
many times do I have to tell you, just because something isn't good doesn't mean it's bad?
All right, I am Brian Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Chat. This is actually part 2 of the EVPS episode with Doug Malinowski. I almost said your name wrong. Sorry, but Doug and Chad Cornell. And we were going through the first part of the episode and really wanted to continue this because we were really having quite a conversation, and it's been a very enjoyable episode so far. I do want to hit some of these comments here real quick.
Go for it.
I've been kind of not keeping up with these. Let's see. I'm going to touch on some of these real quick. Let's see. Kevin says, I drank 2 pints at the Ghost Bar in Newburgh tonight, so I'm a believer. All right, there you go. Indulging in spirits, Kevin.
I like you, Kevin. You're a good dude.
Yeah. Sky Ray says, good evening, my friends. Recent guest on your show, correct?
Sky. Apples and pumpkins.
She writes apples and pumpkins. Doug and Chad, this is bananas. So. Glam says, where do you get your equipment, and are calibrations needed?
I mean, honestly, we've gotten our equipment throughout the years, from whether it be online, at different spirit ghost stores. We have friends that build devices for us. Other members bring their own devices they bought elsewhere. We actually, most of the devices that we use, and even in the field, are ultimately just reused from a different, job of some sort.
But we use a lot of the just simple stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out there and spend $1,000 on a device that lights up 10 different ways. Mm-hmm. It's a waste of money. It's nice, look, it's shiny and this and that, but you can get a lot of the same results without spending a lot of money. Now if you want to invest money, invest in a good speaker or a good recorder. Mm-hmm. Invest in a good camera. Other than that,
yeah, the reason we have different types of tools is we use them in different forms, whether it be a location that, say, it senses vibration, or there's a lot of shadows. We have a shadow detector. We'll set it up, and we'll just, if it activates and we get an alarm, we'll go to that area. It's all based on the location. We use stuff specifically for this location. We could have the fanciest stuff and go to a location and get nothing. You pull out a simple just recorder, and that's when you get all your stuff. I mean, ultimately, it's based on location alone decides what kind of stuff you use. But like I said, we've collected stuff throughout the years. You can get them online, different places. We have people who build stuff. We actually have a friend of ours.
A couple friends.
But one of our good friends, he's building us a device as we speak. He builds stuff for a few shows that are out right now on Travel Channel. He's building us a device. I won't divulge any information quite yet, but it's going to be a cool device that you guys, I think, would enjoy watching on a live stream.
Oh, that's cool. Speaking of devices, and Skyray wrote intelligent response, and that may have been to the video that we played at the end of part 1. When I was with you guys, we went out on an investigation. You had set up a flashlight, and there was some, one of you was saying, it might have been you, Chad. I don't recall. It was quite a while ago, but I remember could you turn the flashlight off? And then it wasn't instant, but it did. It went off. Thank you. Can you turn it back on? And it came back on. You did that several times. Mm-hmm. I found that interesting. I was reading Sky's, saying intelligent response, and then you guys are talking about your devices. These things are interacting physically somehow with that.
Again, it's still knowing your equipment too, because we're using ordinary flashlights, and we've obviously learned throughout the years that you want to use more than one.
Yes.
Because a flashlight, if you just unscrew enough where it can just barely touch it to make it go on, Eventually, it can get, if it's static in the air, all whatnot, it can create that arc and actually connect the battery in that thing without even touching with the static in the air. So it's about having more than one going out, say three, and being specific yes no answers to this is a yes one, this is a no one, this is, I don't know.
because a lot of people try to debunk the flashlight. So
and rightfully so.
Yeah, because but when we used it with you, we were brand new. We're like, dude, this is so cool, But I know over the years we have had, instances where we'll have 2 or 3 of them set up, and we're asking questions, and if it's yes, turn the left one on. If it's no, turn the right one on. And we're asking questions that we already knew the answers to, and the appropriate flashlight was going on and off, which is really cool.
That is very cool. Wow. That's amazing to me to think that something is able to hold on and understand, communicate, and interact with you from the other side.
Yeah, especially something like that. Because like I said, the flashlight arcing, the static in the air, spirits are what? Made of energy, whether that be whatever energy we think it might be. People have used static energy to communicate. Well, if you think about static connecting those and making an arc, a spirit could do that by just touching it too. So I mean, that's another theory involved with the flashlight. I remember that session you're talking about, and that was a very intriguing session because it was being specific in its answers.
Right. Well, let's see. Brad says, just don't let something fall down on your head like what happened to poor Ava, LOL. Well, that was at the end of the credits. I always put that in there. This something fall. We were out with a paranormal investigation team, and it was pitch black in this room, and something had fallen and hit my wife Ava on the head there. That was a. I mean, she had laid down on this bed, so it was by natural means. Nothing got thrown at her or nothing like that. It wasn't that impressive of an explanation, unfortunately. But in fact, nothing happened during that particular investigation. And I was mentioning in the part 1 how hours and hours can be, committed to setting up, and sometimes nothing at all happens. And that's why you guys got to have a lot of commitment and dedication to what it is you do. But that was a fun investigation because they had that whole building wired up. I'm sure with the equipment that you have now you probably wouldn't need it done quite so thoroughly. I don't know. I don't know what your equipment's like now compared to
advancements.
Yeah, this was like 10 years ago. But the thing, it was neat because it was done live. Like you guys were talking about doing investigations on your live cam. That's what this was. This was a live cam investigation. It was it was back in like 2008. But that's pretty neat. Are you doing? Do you have it planned to do another live event investigation?
Well, we're working on it. As we speak. I know there's some conversations being had with a few people, but we've been kind of laying low this year with other things going on, whether it be personal, kids stuff.
COVID really sucked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. How has that? I mean, besides the obvious, but I mean, has that really? Hindered you guys to be able to like meet with the client, go out and go around the venue, and I mean, how has that affected you guys? Because you wouldn't have a lot of people in there, right? No,
and we have everyone in our team that has luckily been, we were very cautious in how we do things anyways with vaccinations and everything else we would do. Honestly, it's affected us more, and we missed out on some locations due to things being shut down.
A lot of fun investigations.
We had a planned trip to go to Louisville, Kentucky, and go investigate Waverly Hills Sanitarium, which is an enormously large location that has been rumored to be haunted forever by so many people. And we wanted to go check it out ourselves, and it was in the plan, and literally it was just weeks leading up that the shutdown happened, and we missed out on that opportunity.
Sky Ray writes, Chad and Doug, don't you agree that you give the spirits more tools to use of their choice because some are easier for them to manipulate?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That would make sense, because if this ghost is from the the early 1900s and you're talking about a flashlight, they might not have any idea what that technology would have been in their lifetime.
Oh, absolutely. We really, it's why we try to understand where we're going and use the right way of describing things. Like, hey, can you light this torch for us? For example, like a flashlight. Oh, stuff like that. There's so many things we go into the aspect of really preparing for an investigation.
Yeah.
Have any of the other members of your team, now Chad, you were talking in part one about actually there was a physical mark left on I think your back. First of all, is that the only time that's happened to you?
That I was physically scratched to that extreme? Yeah, that was pretty extreme. But that night alone, it was a weird night.
That night was a waste of my time.
Wait, it was a waste of his time. But it was connected. So here's that we went to a location that was supposed to use holistic methods of helping people with tuberculosis and our items, but they also had different treatments they would use for other illnesses, like shock treatment in a bathtub full of water. That tub was downstairs where this happened. Now, leading up to this scratch, I actually laid in this tub during a session, and I remember we decided to leave me alone in there for a half hour with the camera streaming right at me. I don't remember any of it because I kind of blacked out. Not that I made fun of the people on TV that do that, and you're like, okay, whatever. I actually experienced that where I just don't remember anything from that. Like, I actually got emotional from whatever was there. It just made me get a little overwhelmed, and leading up after that, that's when the scratch happened. Something was it just communicated really deeply with me, and I was happy we was at least be able to capture on camera because, you look like a crazy person trying to tell somebody what's going on, but the fact we actually had it live.
Oh, sorry, man, you weren't supposed to see that.
Doug back here with a stick, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He didn't get his eyes checked. His apparition was just, his eyes getting cataracts.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. We're all getting up there in age and have to deal with that. But I asked you guys in part one about, and I suppose this could vary just as easily as it could vary with human beings in this present life, about, this is something I'm so interested in. When you pass on, whatever that means, are you more or less aware? And maybe that thing in that loop, for example, maybe that's not even there, where you're seeing a projection of some type. However, the conditions are just right. I don't know. I wish we knew more about it, but you guys are the pioneers. You're taking the first steps, into this science, But I've always been interested in that, because I would always think that, you passed on, and now you're kind of looking at reality in a different way, from a different perspective. But maybe that's not the case. I guess we don't know, but I do, through your questioning these spirits and through your communication in whatever forms, do you get different types of answers like that? I mean, what do you think?
I guess it really is dependent, because there's so many different types of hauntings, so there could be so many different reasons they're there, whether it be an object their energy's attached to an object, or they come back for special occasions, sort of a loved one, or it could just be, like I said, the original, the effects of them, their energies being almost seeped into a location, whether it be like limestone or something like that. It's a conduit that's can hold energy. the energy can get released, and it's not the spirit; it's just their energy being released to play over and over again. So it's much different theories. Again, all theory. It's just there's no wrong or right answer here. But this is an interesting study. I think you might find interesting. I can't remember I think it's in New York. There's a hospital there. And they study near-death experiences.
Yes.
And what they do is if somebody comes in and they're on the verge of, they could go either way, and they're trying to resuscitate and whatnot. There are actually cameras and pictures and things throughout the room, and they've documented bringing people back, and they could see pictures, and they're talking about pictures in this room that were only be able to see if they were facing the ground. They had a picture on the ground upward, or they had something on the ceiling or something here, and they could describe that back to the doctors during this state of here or not here. It's a very intriguing study.
Wow.
So it's almost gives you that presumption that you're having an out-of-body experience and hovering and seeing yourself and seeing the room, but you're brought back. There's so many different stories and inputs out there by people about that, but it's interesting that's being a study being done at a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking about that, coming back from wherever they were, have you ever interviewed somebody who's had that experience? In your investigations throughout all these years, have you ever talked to somebody who has come back?
Privately, yes. Like on air or during an investigation, no.
No. We like to make it into an actual show specific to that, because it'd be an interesting show to get an aspect of multiple people, but we've never actually talked to somebody live or anybody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty fascinating, I think. I mean, and I know investigation teams are, I know you guys are very professional what you do, and the other teams I've been with, I know they're very discreet. They really respect their clients, and they would certainly never disclose anything that they didn't want revealed. But in that private conversation, I mean, did it really seem as though that person went beyond and returned?
The girl I know, yeah. I mean, she was convinced, and she had a really cool story. It was a car accident, and it really messed her up. I mean, just her whole, after that accident, it seemed like her whole life kind of crumbled. But yeah, it was really cool to talk to her about it. And actually, what I wanted to do was branch off and do my own show, kind of podcast with Denise, with a medium that we know, and we were going to do a show like that, and it just never really panned out.
Huh. Do you have any? Now, speaking of that, do you have any mediums on your team? Some teams have those, and I actually didn't know that until I started interviewing more teams. Then I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's one thing to have equipment; it's another to have a person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of these mediums, they were born with a gift, and it's really cool to see people being able to use their gift. We're all born with something. I know Mommy used to tell us when we were kids, oh, you're special. We really are. We all have something to give. Unfortunately, I think that as humans, we're jaded. That's why they always say, kids or pets are more sensitive to spirits and seeing things, because they're not jaded yet. Their body is not filled with the caffeine. It's not filled with this. It's not filled with that. So it's really cool to see mediums, being able to do their thing. Where when you can walk into a room and not know the backstory and tell me the backstory. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah. Now, we never actually they're I hate to use this term, but they are a great tool.
They're a tool.
We've never used them for any kind of private use, just because nothing against them. It's just if I have collected documentation with different devices and can back it up with these other devices, I can show you something or let you hear something.
Right.
you can't show their feelings or their visions. They can only describe it, and that's really sometimes hard to come off to some people.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. That's why we're still skeptical and are very cautious when we become
about who we associate with.
Correct.
On that
Right.
side. But I gotta say, I know about 10 that are just amazing people, amazing women. I don't know any dudes, man. They're all women. Honestly.
That's
right?
true. Now that you mention it, I've only met.
Well, we've had a couple on the show, but people that I would consider like
close friends.
Yeah, close friend or this or
Okay.
that. Yeah, they're all chicks.
Okay.
They're all women. I gotta be politically correct.
Glam Fang says, so sorry if this was already covered, but have you ever had a situation that you felt was too dangerous to continue? Have you ever been concerned that sometimes or something would follow you home?
I mean, we all have our own beliefs and do our own things. When we leave a location, I know Doug does things different than I do. Far as feeling like I've, been scared to take something home with me, there's been a few locations I've been nervous about, but I preliminary kind of made myself strong in mind before I went there. There's been locations that were dangerous due to weather conditions, and also locations dangerous due to environmental conditions, but never been scared or threatened to the point where it was during an investigation and I felt like I needed to leave or was scared I was going to go home with something. I think that's just being strong in mind and using your own belief to, you can tell something, listen, I am leaving, you're not welcome to join me, you need to stay here. And you got to be, strong in mind to do that. I know Doug has his own methods of doing things, and other people have their own methods. I think it's a personal thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, pretty much I say the same thing. Before I leave, I always say thank you. I'm going home. This is your home. You're not welcome to follow me. So far, it seems to work. Once in a while, if I feel like being a jerky, I'll say, you're not welcome to follow me, but hey, these guys over here are for your reign. But so far, so good. You say a little prayer. I mean, some people burn sage. They say prayers. They have the holy water.
But even Doug would agree with this. Even though you leave a location, sometimes the energy stays with you, and it drains you. And every investigator you ever talk to will say one of the worst things ever sometimes is after an investigation next morning. It's called the paranormal hangover.
Yeah.
It legit, you feel like you have a hangover.
Yeah, you feel drained.
Well, you mentioned too, you felt as though you had passed out, or all the energy had left you at that the one investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose that would just leave your energy drained. I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. I never looked at it that way on the investigators' part, how that must affect them. But it's real. You can really feel a difference, huh?
Oh yeah, you feel like you have a hangover the next day sometimes.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow.
It's so disappointing when you don't have an active night. If I'm gonna have a hangover, I want it to be for a reason.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sky Ray says the worst para hangover. The word para hangover. That's an
para hangover, man. Sky knows.
Let me make sure. And if I'm missing to the viewers, those who are participating, if I've missed your comments, I am sorry. There's a lot on here, and I'm trying to catch as many as I can. And in some of them, when I go back up, I don't know. It seems like we've already moved on to the topic, and it might be out of context, so you have to excuse that. But Doug, Chad, this has really been an extremely interesting topic. There's so much about this that we don't know, but there's been a lot of, I guess, traction too. Over the last, what do you think? Maybe last 15 years or so.
Oh,
definitely. Honestly, since Ghost Hunters came out, Ghost Hunters kicked down a door that really need a kick down, you know. And I know a good friend of ours, Joe. He's been doing this since college. All right, Joe's a retired guy. He's running his own business now, and he's been doing this since, you know, before, like I was just a little baby, you know. But people looked at him like he was crazy for so many years, and now, I mean, he has his own store. This is what he does, you know, and it's because of shows like Ghost Hunter that open the door for more people, you know, to bring the story to light.
It makes
you know?
it more acceptable.
It does. It really
Once
does.
it hit pop culture, it became acceptable because it was very much a thing that was jaded by the public.
Yeah, it was. Like, oh, you know.
You
Well,
were,
like,
yeah. People would act like they were crazy, or like the UFO sightings. Well, now those are very, you know, they're pretty concrete. You know, the fact that there are UFOs, and
Yeah.
you know, but at one time that was looked at as, oh, you know, the tinfoil hat people. Well, see, I've always believed very much in the UFO, so this is just another thing, like you guys just got done saying. Years ago, people thought you were crazy, but through these shows, more and more people. You know why I think it is because not only is it interesting, we all wonder what's going on in the, you know, afterlife, but there's also people who see and hear things. I was just talking with the guest last week about this, and when they see it, they're like, "Oh, I'm not alone." Like there are other people out there, quite a bit of them, who are
Exactly.
seeing and hearing this. So it's okay, you know, because they did at one time treat people like they were kind of crazy, or, you know, not all there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Such a, I mean, even we had a conversation last week with our last show with, you know, people in your traveling sky. You know, a lot of times it was a medical thing, and it really wasn't. It was just actual events happening, and people went to psychologists and stuff trying to determine why they're crazy when they really weren't.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I think our viewers would be very interested to continue following you guys. I'm going to put up your information here. Now, remember, Chad and Doug, they have the Eerie Voice program. They do every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's on Facebook. And let's see, I also have your contact information here. The Eerie, or the EVPS, Eerie Voices Paranormal Society. That's your page on Facebook. And then, of course, your show, the Eerie Voice, on Thursday nights on the Manifest Network.
Absolutely. And any other social medias we have, they're, you know, all connected to all those platforms, whether that be the Eerie Voice Facebook page, or you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, you know, all that kind of fun jazz. I think most all the names are Eerie Voices.
All that fun jazz.
Yeah.
And
but feel free to reach out and follow and keep tabs what we're doing. Appreciate it.
And there is, of course, your website, and I see that I've misspelled that. I'm going to have to make that correction, but it is EERIE Voices, not maybe a little slip up there. But it is eerievoices.com. eerievoices.com. And you have all your information, including your members' information and what. Well, let me ask you, do you have anything in the horizon that you're going to be doing coming up?
Well, we're working on, like I said, setting up some locations. Hopefully, getting back to an old firehouse we did recently. We just showed some of the clips from. We're trying to get back there here in the very near future. A few locations in New York I'm working on getting this into. So we're just now kind of diving into the mix. It always just getting to be a busy time. Definitely with there's a few locations that popped up that our friends are involved in. We're going to go check out, whether that be in West Virginia, Indiana.
West Virginia, Cindy, we are still coming out.
Yes, so we got places in New York, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, and of course Pennsylvania that we have trying to get worked out some logistics. And obviously it gets a little tougher when winter hits. You know, it gets a little more treacherous travel, but we try and keep local then. But
But that's the coolest thing about doing what we do. You know, every Thursday we get to talk to somebody, um, and a lot of our guests have become friends, and everybody has connections. You know, I might know somebody you need to know. You might know somebody I need to know. And over the years, you know, we've been invited to a lot of amazing locations. Whether or not we've been able to get there, you know, travel, this, that, you know, life happens. But
California.
yeah, California.
I remember you guys were going to go there, yeah.
Yes, we have an open invite, California. I mean, hello. You know, unfortunately, you know, my mind says yes, my wallet says
Right.
That was actually to a location that's built beside the home of the Manson murders, where Sharon Tate was murdered and other members of her friends.
yeah.
That would have been incredible. Skyray says, great show. So glad I caught it tonight. Awesome host. Oh, thank you, and thank you for joining us, Sky, and everybody else out there who watched, whether you just watched for the enjoyment or learned something or participated, asked questions. Want to thank you. And of course, Chad, Doug, thanks once again for coming on Chiller Chat and sharing your investigative experiences with myself and the viewers.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Dude, it was awesome. Thank you.
All right, we'll have you on soon. And with that, everybody, have a good night. Have a good chiller night. We'll see you next week.
How many times do I have to tell you, just because something isn't good doesn't mean it's bad?
All right, jump back on here. We're officially done, but if you guys are still hanging out there, appreciate it. But hey, guys, that was a fun show tonight. I really appreciate that.
That really was. Thank you so much for having us on.
And again, I have to mention this. This was so cool that we had the video and audio set up for this. This is the very first episode that we've done this. So,
It's
this
still
is
alive
awesome.
too.
What's that?
You're still alive too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm on there for anybody who kind of hangs around afterwards. Raymond says thanks, Brian and guests. Oh, thanks, Raymond. So yeah,
See,
that
I've
was.
always wanted to do this because I tell you what, you get better. We always do a little bit before the show, and for a long time there, we would kind of have the show carry on afterwards.
Yeah.
But just the conversation you get and the feeling, it's like it's a different conversation. So what me and you were talking about before the show, it's a different vibe. Or after the show,
you know,
it's a different vibe. And I've always wanted to do that, like carry it on.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's carrying on, so I gotta be.
Yeah. Now we're just talking, all the pressure's off, and
exactly.
we're just having a conversation.
We used to do the show, and then we would do an after show called The Echo.
Yeah.
Which is now transferred into the live show investigation. But we used to have the after show back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, man, like we're 90 years old.
Well, that's where I would eventually like this to. Troy says, my brother watching from Florida. Hope the weather's nice. He says, great episode, awesome. Thanks, Troy. But yeah, this is kind of nice. I would like the show to kind of head in that direction, to where it would be awesome to get everybody on this level, this comfort level. You know, when I had there was one guest I had on, and we were there with him in the studio, the Masked Superstar, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up.
Yes.
Well, we I mentioned him on your show, I think about a week or two ago.
Yeah.
But before that, we sat and just talked for like 40 minutes before our interview. And there was another one, Gary Striner from one of the production workers from Night of the Living Dead. We met him in Evan City, where part of the movie was filmed, and we met in the morning in a bar and had a couple beers, a couple shots, and then we went out on location to to do the interviews, and it was fun. I very much enjoy that, and that's why I kind of like talking to guests prior to even the show, or maybe even the day before, just to kind of break the ice,
Yes, exactly.
Congratulations on the live stream of the video. I'm glad you're enjoying that.
That is cool.
Well, guys, I've had you on here for well over an hour, so thank you again.
And it didn't seem like it though.
I know it did go quick. In fact, I started looking at the time, going on 8:30, and I'm like, "There's no way! I got so much more I want to talk about," and I wasn't ready to end it. So I'm glad. I appreciate you guys hanging in there, and now we got a two-parter.
Like I said, chiller chats go to an hour, because we have the video. When you go video, obviously that makes things a little more, different than even just the audio.
Yeah. It might evolve in that direction. You never know. So, all right, fellas, thank you so much.
Hey, have a good one, Brian.
All right, we'll see ya. All right, that was very, very cool. And again, thanks to all of you who watched and even stuck around afterwards. So, all right, guys and gals, have a good night. Brad says, what else can I say? Great show, you guys. Oh, thank you, Brad. All right, folks, we'll see you hopefully Saturday night.